Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into the top 10 weakest countries in the world for 2024. We'll be looking at various metrics, economic stability, military strength, and the overall quality of life for the average citizen. Think of it like a global checkup, except instead of checking your cholesterol, we're checking a country's infrastructure, healthcare system, and whether or not their politicians have figured out how to keep the lights on. Over the next few minutes, we're going to take a hard look at 10 countries facing some truly daunting challenges. Buckle up, folks. It's going to be a bumpy ride. First up, we have Country A, a nation that's no stranger to hardship. For decades, Country A has been grappling with a perfect storm of economic turmoil and military vulnerability.
Their economy, riddled with corruption and hampered by a lack of diversification, resembles a sputtering engine desperately in need of a tune-up. Unemployment rates are through the roof, leaving a significant portion of the population struggling to make ends meet.
And if that weren't enough, their military, plagued by outdated equipment and chronic underfunding, wouldn't exactly inspire confidence in the face of external threats.
Despite these challenges, the people of Country A have shown remarkable resilience. There's a vibrant civil society fighting for change, and a glimmer of hope that with the right support and a healthy dose of political will, Country A can turn the tide. Next, we travel to Country B, a nation caught in a seemingly endless cycle of political instability and infrastructural decay. Imagine a house with crumbling foundations, leaky pipes, and a revolving door of tenants who can't agree on who's in charge of fixing anything.
Frequent coups and political upheavals have left the country in a perpetual state of uncertainty, making it nearly impossible to establish long-term plans for growth and development.
And the infrastructure? Roads crumble faster than a stale baguette, power outages are more frequent than rush hour traffic, and access to clean water is a luxury many can only dream of.
But amidst the chaos, there are glimmers of hope. A young generation, eager for change and tired of the status quo, is starting to raise their voices. They understand that true progress requires more than just patching up potholes. It demands a complete overhaul of the system.
It's a tough road ahead, but the determination of the youth offers a beacon of hope. Our next stop takes us to Country C, a nation grappling with the crushing weight of poverty.
With a GDP that could barely buy you a decent used car and unemployment rates higher than a giraffe on stilts, it's no surprise that a vast majority of the population lives below the poverty line. Basic necessities like food, clean water, and healthcare are often out of reach, leaving millions trapped in a cycle of deprivation.
One of the main culprits behind this economic quagmire is a lack of diversification. Country C is heavily reliant on a single industry, and when that industry sneezes, the entire economy catches a cold.
But even in the face of such adversity, the people of Country C haven't given up hope.
Let's move on to Country D, a nation facing the double whammy of a lack of natural resources and a healthcare system that's about as effective as a band-aid on a broken leg.
Imagine trying to bake a cake with no flour, sugar or eggs, and then trying to frost it with a rusty spoon. That's essentially the situation in Country D.
Their lack of natural resources has made it challenging to develop a robust and diversified economy, leaving them heavily reliant on foreign aid and imports.
It's like trying to run a marathon on an empty stomach. You might start off strong, but you're going to crash and burn pretty quickly.
This lack of access to quality healthcare has had a devastating impact on the population, leading to lower life expectancies and higher rates of preventable diseases. Our next destination is Country E, a nation where high crime rates and a weak government have created a climate of fear and uncertainty.
Imagine living in a neighborhood where you're more worried about getting mugged on your way to the mailbox than you are about what's for dinner. That's everyday life for many in Country E.
Rampant corruption and a lack of accountability have eroded public trust in the government, leaving many feeling like they're living in a real-life version of the Purge. Except the Purge never ends.
It's like the Wild West out there, but instead of cowboys and saloons, it's corrupt officials and black market dealings.
But amidst the chaos, there are pockets of resistance. Brave journalists and activists are risking their lives to expose corruption and demand accountability. We arrive now in Country F, a nation where a poor education system and low life expectancy paint a bleak picture for the future.
Imagine a library with empty shelves or a classroom where the only lesson on the syllabus is despair. That's the grim reality facing many in Country F.
Chronic underfunding and a lack of qualified teachers have left the education system in shambles, robbing generations of children of the opportunity to reach their full potential.
It's like trying to win a race with one shoe and your shoelaces tied together. You're not exactly setting yourself up for success.
And as if that weren't enough, low life expectancy rates, driven by poverty, malnutrition, and limited access to healthcare, cast a long shadow over the nation's future. Chapter 7, Country G, the grip of corruption.
Our journey takes us next to Country G, a nation where corruption is as common as a sunburn in July, and poverty is as persistent as a telemarketer during dinner time.
Corruption is so deeply ingrained in the fabric of society that it's practically considered a national pastime. Bribes are exchanged more often than pleasantries, and transparency is about as common as a unicorn wearing a tuxedo.
This rampant corruption has a devastating impact on every aspect of life in Country G.
It scares away foreign investors, stifles economic growth, and prevents essential services like healthcare and education from reaching those who need them most.
And let's not forget about poverty. With a significant portion of the population living below the poverty line, it's clear that the system is rigged against the most vulnerable.
Hold on tight as we travel to Country H, a nation caught in a seemingly endless cycle of natural disasters and woefully inadequate disaster response.
Imagine a game of whack-a-mole where the moles are earthquakes, hurricanes, and floods, and the hammer is a rusty teaspoon. That's the unfortunate reality in Country H.
Located in a region prone to Mother Nature's temper tantrums, Country H is constantly bombarded by earthquakes, floods, hurricanes, and droughts. And to make matters worse, their disaster response infrastructure is about as effective as a screen door on a submarine. When disaster strikes, the government's response is often too little, too late, leaving communities to fend for themselves with little to no support. This constant cycle of disasters and inadequate response has a devastating impact on the country's development. Fasten your seatbelts as we journey to Country 1, a nation grappling with the double whammy of poor international relations and trade deficits that would make even a Wall Street banker blush.
Imagine trying to join a group project where everyone else is already friends and you accidentally spilled orange juice on the only working computer. That's essentially Country Y's position on the world stage.
Their foreign policy could best be described as accidentally bumping into someone at a party and then proceeding to spill your drink on them. Twice. They've managed to alienate potential allies and find themselves on the outs with key global players. And speaking of losing shirts, let's talk about those trade deficits. They're importing more goods than they're exporting, which is about as sustainable as a diet consisting solely of candy bars and energy drinks. This combination of poor international relations and economic instability has left Country 1 isolated and vulnerable. Our final stop takes us to Country J, a nation where the term developing country feels less like a descriptor and more like a broken promise.
It's a place where the present is a struggle, and the future feels like a distant dream, constantly deferred.
Years of political instability, economic mismanagement, and social inequality have created a perfect storm of despair, leaving many citizens feeling like they're drowning in quicksand. The education system is in dire straits, healthcare is a luxury few can afford, and basic infrastructure, like reliable electricity and clean water, is often more aspiration than reality. But even in the face of such overwhelming challenges, the human spirit endures. There are pockets of hope, glimmers of resilience, and individuals fighting tirelessly for a brighter future. They are the tiny seeds of change, waiting for the right conditions to take root and grow. Well, folks, there you have it. A glimpse into the complex and often heartbreaking realities facing some of the world's weakest nations. We've explored the challenges, from crumbling economies and political instability to inadequate healthcare and the ever-present threat of natural disasters. But before you crawl under a weighted blanket, remember this. Awareness is the first step towards action. By shining a light on these issues, by understanding the root causes and the human toll, we can start to create meaningful change. Thank you for watching. If you found this video informative, please like, share and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. And remember, even small actions can make a big difference.